What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm Mike Ham. We are here in Asbury Park today with Tim McLoone at Iron Whale. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike.
It's great to have you here. Yeah. So this is a place, Asbury Park has been a place that I've been coming to for a while. Been coming to Iron Whale for a while, and when I got
Not
the
as long as I have.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. Definitely not as long.
That's how I ended up here.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, so this is a place that we like to come to a lot. So we're here. I didn't even realize, obviously, I've seen the name McLoone on other restaurants around the state of New Jersey, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a little bit. I didn't even realize that this was yours. And then when they put us in touch,
that was pretty
like,
intentional.
Yeah.
Our landlords here, Madison Marquette, who are actually tremendous. We really enjoy the relationship. They were concerned because we had the supper club right here and also Robinson Ale House, and that it would look like it was just one company, which it is actually, sort of taking over the pavilion, and they were concerned. So we basically came to an agreement with them, not that they were pushing it that hard, that we would do everything differently here than we do at any of our other places, including the name. Yeah. Just Iron Whale. I don't even remember where it came from. And I'm silly enough that I thought, well, iron, that's for like the beef product that we have, and the whale is for the seafood. And everyone's looking at me like, what are you talking about? It's got nothing to do with that. It's just a goofy name.
Well, it sticks,
But but it's memorable, I think. You know?
No, I love that. So talk to me a little bit about, like, when did you first start getting into, like, the restaurant world? 'Cause I think you told me on the phone that wasn't, like, your background originally.
No. My first venture, well, I've been a musician all my life. Yeah. And I was full-time coming out of college.
What kind of musician?
I play piano. I've got a 10-piece band called Tim McLoone and the Shirleys.
Oh, okay.
And we do a big cross-section of things.
Nice.
A lot of, obviously, music we grew up on in the 60s and 70s, but a lot of R&B and just different things. But that's what I was going to do. But then I found out pretty early on that trying to be a full-time musician to support yourself is not an easy road. So I took another not easy road and opened up a retail store called The Running Store, because I've been a runner all my life. And so I did that for like 30-something years, actually, to supplement what I was doing musically. Yeah. And then eventually I got away from playing full-time because it just, it was just endless numbers of weddings and banquets and parties, and it's a hard life. Yeah. For my friends who are full-time musicians, God love them. And I've always said that among my musician friends, they consider me to be nothing short of a business genius. Like, I am the businessman, right? Right. When I walk into the bank, I am so clearly a musician. Yeah. First of all, I'm late.
Well, yeah.
I'm dressed like this, No, but so what ended up happening was I was playing with my band at a place called the Rum Runner in Seabright. Okay. And I offhandedly mentioned to the owner on the way out, I couldn't believe it was a Saturday night in the summer, and the place was empty. Yeah, we were doing a private party upstairs, and downstairs there was nobody there. And it's right on the water, and so I said, if you ever wanted to sell this place, which is hilarious because I was making probably $400 a week. Yeah. Cash. Right. But $400 nonetheless. Yeah. And without boring you with the whole story or your audience, basically a year later, he recalled the conversation and told someone else that I knew that he was selling the restaurant to me. And so we got in touch, and he said, if you give me $1 million by New Year's Eve of 1986 into 87, which is crucial. The reason he said that was that the capital gains taxes were changed. This is where I become a business genius. Yeah, right. I'm getting that so flavor stupid. From you, But the taxes were tripling. Okay. And so anyone that was selling anything was going to do it before 1987 came in. Yeah. So he said, if you give me $1 million by New Year's Eve, it's yours. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put it on the market at a higher price. Yeah. And so, as I said to you on the phone, I thought he said, if you give me $1 bazillion.
I mean, I'm sure $1 million making $400 a week sounds like bazillion.
Well, it ended up being a second mortgage on my home and a bunch of my friends. Who all chipped in, and we all did it. Yeah. And I literally went to the closing in a tuxedo on New Year's Eve because it took that to that last minute to get it done, because I was playing the opening of the Oyster Point Hotel New Year's Eve party with my band. Yeah. Genius. So that's how it started, and I didn't know much, and we almost went out of business. We had a funny run-in in a way with Bruce Springsteen because Bruce asked if we'd known each other for a long time, and we'd played occasionally together, and he said, I'm going to have a new album. It was the Tunnel of Love album. Okay. He said, can I rehearse at the Rum Runner? Because we had an upstairs room with a little stage on it. To think that he was still that small with Tunnel of Love that he would need to,
Yeah.
you know. So
That's wild. That's
but
a
what
wild
happens
story.
is
Yeah.
he's there every day.
Okay.
Like, they'd show up at like 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, and they would rehearse until the sun went down.
Right.
Well, needless to say, the world went crazy trying to get in and, overhearing it. And my staff was like, if he plays that song one more time, I'm going to quit.
Like that annoying upstairs neighbor.
But it ended up creating problems for us because we got overwhelmed and our neighbors were very unhappy, and rightly so. There were just cars everywhere.
Right.
It was great. And so we almost went out that first year, but we built a deck on the water the second year because I realized that all these people were driving in at night and pulling up to the river, probably making out or who knows.
Sure, yeah.
Who would do something like that?
Nah.
But just looking at the water.
Yeah.
And so we put a deck out there, and that changed it. So we were able to, we're still in business 35 years later.
Right.
So
then kind of take me through like the progression of like finding success with that original location and then, starting to open up more. Because like we were just chatting just before, and you were talking about trying to put your daughter through college, right? And you were like, let's just open up another restaurant,
I
basically.
had a daughter who was probably 15 or 16, approaching college age. And I'm like, she's not going to be going to a good college based on what's going on in Seabright, New Jersey. And so we got the opportunity to go to Pier Village in Pier. It was brand new. We were the first lease signers there.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate. We opened up. Nothing else was open yet.
Right.
And there was mud everywhere and just all kinds of pipes and things. And they jammed us. It was an instant hit. We weren't really ready for it because who would be? To do 1,500 people on a Saturday night. And, a big number at the Rum Runner would be 300.
Yeah.
And we would literally do 1,500
That's
at
unbelievable.
Pier Village.
Yeah.
But fortunately, that also creates a lot of income. So once we figured ourselves out, the second year through, we knew what we were doing. And so then I started getting arrogant, I guess, in a way. I'm kidding, sort of. But we're restaurant people now, And Asbury, as we're sitting here now looking at Madame Marie's sign, had that nostalgic place in your life, had it in my life.
Yep.
And for all of us who grew up in North Jersey, as I did, coming down the shore, which gives me away as having grown up in the Oranges, it was a place to go and to a date. And, I'm so old, I saw the first run Planet of the Apes at the Paramount Theater on a date. Yeah, that's a long time. No, it is. That is a wow. I think it's like 1966 or something like that. I don't know when it was.
Unbelievable.
But we had that nostalgic tie here.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, there's a new developer here, Madison Marquette, and we were the first lease signers with them, and we got crushed.
Yeah.
So Mr. Businessman, the Rum Runner was hurting because Pier Village was taking everything.
Right.
But Pier Village was great. Okay, that's good.
Yep.
But then down here, not so good. And then the stock market crashes right as we open.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, perfect timing.
When we first opened the Rum Runner, by the way, that was the prior stock market crash in 1987. Mm-hmm. And now this was 2007, 2006, whatever it was.
The business guy. You're the business guy.
Apparently not. I'm not good on dates. But we had to just slug it out. There was nothing about me that was going to quit here.
Right.
I really liked our landlords. We love Asbury. This is the greatest place in the world. When we talk to people, if you look out on the boardwalk in the middle of a summer night and it's packed, there is no demographic here.
Yeah.
It's an incredible place of acceptance. And I think that in general, or maybe specifically, we all owe a debt of gratitude to the gay community, if there is such a thing as a community. But the gay people that moved here and just did so much great work and had shops and art galleries and really kept it safe to a great extent.
Right. Because there was a point where it was like, I remember a few years ago telling my dad I was going down to Asbury Park, and he's like, same thing. Like born in 1956, kind of like watched Asbury's trajectory of its life and knew that it was like, at least thought that it was not a place that you should be going. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to Asbury Park. He's like,
at least at
what
night.
Are you crazy? And now I come down here, like literally we were down here a couple weeks ago. We're going to come back in a couple weeks. Like we're down here all the time. So I live in Morristown. It's an hour away. It's amazing.
Nothing ever happens here.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I can think of 2 incidents. We've been here now for 16 years, 17 years. I can think of 2 incidents, and even they were not a thing.
Right.
Some guy got into a scuffle right in front of the restaurant. Another person 15 years ago, literally 15 years ago, got, hit over the head on the way to his car. That's it. That's the entire police blotter of our experience. And I hate to even put that negativity on it because it's been fantastic. Just all ages, All denominations, all everything are here.
Right.
And it's a city of great acceptance. Now, of course, we're on the east side, and there is still a west side on the other side of the tracks that has not been dragged along as it should have been.
Yeah.
And, hopefully it'll, you talk about trickle down, it never happens.
Right.
But hopefully better things will happen on the west side. I
Yeah.
think the current administration cares about that a lot.
Right.
And you just hope.
Yeah.
Here all we can do is hire people from the west side, which we're happy to do.
Yeah.
Particularly in this environment.
Definitely.
But it's still a sadness that Asbury will not be really fully back until that gets solved.
Yeah, for sure. But, I think, I remember we were rewatching The Sopranos, and there's the one scene where he's having the dream because he's hallucinating from the bad Indian food, and he's sitting on the boardwalk right out here, with Pussy and everybody else, and I remember looking, I'm that's literally where Iron Whale is now, but it was just there was nothing. It was just, you saw Madame Marie's in the corner, and then it was this whole strip was just nothing. It's been so cool to see kind of how much it's changed since then.
Well, it resonates with the country.
Yeah.
Where it used to be when I was a kid, if you watched the Johnny Carson show or any late night shows, if they mentioned the word Brooklyn, it would get a response from the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd would either laugh or cheer or whatever.
Right.
Asbury Park has that same kind of cachet around the whole country.
Yeah.
And let's face it, 90% of it's due to Bruce.
Yeah.
And everybody that followed him.
Right.
But then they also realized that what a cool place.
Yeah.
There's lots of seaside communities up and down Jersey and certainly into New York and Long Island. This one stands alone, in my opinion, partly because of how people are treated here.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to start singing a big song about it, although I'm a musician. But I wrote a song years ago called "The Sound of Asbury Park," which was me complaining that I couldn't get my band to play at the Stone Pony. I was just whining for 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
Yeah.
Won't you let me play too was the big turnaround. In retrospect, it wasn't that good a song.
Yeah. I love it. Well, now you could throw a stone and probably hit the Stone Pony from here. So that's
we do occasionally, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, right. Why not?
Just throw some stones over.
Awesome. So this has been a great first segment. So we're going to get into our second segment here in a second. So we're going to talk specifically about Iron Whale and what people can come to expect when they're here. So this is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We're here at the Iron Whale in Asbury Park with Tim McLoone. We'll be right back. It is time for Today in New Jersey History. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie dedicated a statue of Althea Gibson at the Althea Gibson Tennis Court Complex in Newark, New Jersey on March 28, 2012. Althea Gibson was a professional tennis player and the first African-American to cross the color line in international tennis. She was the first African-American to win a Grand Slam title, as well as at Wimbledon and the U.S. Nationals. And that is Today in New Jersey History. All right, we're back for segment 2 of our episode with Tim McLoone at Iron Whale in Asbury Park. This is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast, of course, and I'm Mike Ham, as always. So in the first segment, we kind of learned a little bit about your background, the restaurant background, how you're just this business savant, picking all the perfect dates.
How'd that go? Was that right?
It was great.
The level of lying that I'm capable of is just
it's incredible. I'm blown away.
It really is.
So this segment, we want to talk specifically about Iron Whale. So I had reached out I was reaching out to different places around Asbury Park because this is the first time we're recording episodes down here, and so started with Iron Whale because that was one of the spots that we come every time we're down here, we make sure we stop in for a cocktail or an appetizer, even if it's just something.
Well, remember I told you about my daughter, how we're going to afford her going to college. Well, there's 3 more after her, and one of them's still in college, so you keep coming here.
I'll keep ordering cocktails.
She decided the 5-year program suited her just fine.
Yeah. might be time to open up another restaurant. Who knows? So I didn't ask this in the first segment, but so how many restaurants right now do you own?
We have 11.
11, okay. And then there's, like we said, there's
some
3.
of which are successful.
Yeah, right. That's good.
Not all of which.
Well, we all can't be winners, I guess. But okay, so let's talk about specifically Iron Whale. So one of the things that you mentioned in the first segment was you wanted to make this place different than most of the other places that you have.
Yeah.
So what can, just do broad strokes.
And the reason, by the way,
yeah, go for it.
If you don't mind my interrupting, because I do that.
Yeah, I love it.
A lot.
Conversation.
One of the reasons was that we knew we would be recycling our own customer base.
Right.
We have people that just like our restaurants.
Yeah.
And they like the idea that there's more than one, and they can go from one to the other and the other.
Right.
And it was really pretty funny, actually, when we opened up the Robinson Ale House in Red Bank, to diverge a little bit. My wife's name is Robinson, and our niece was sitting at the bar. We'd been open about 10 days. And the couple sitting next to the man says to the woman, Tim McLoone owns this place. And his wife, I guess, said, no, he doesn't. It's the Robinson Ale House.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, Robinson is his real name. Tim McLoone is his stage name. If I were picking a stage name, I don't
Tim
think
McLoone,
it would have been that.
Yeah, no offense.
I'm used to it now, but
Right.
no. But at any rate, the whole package of it was that we didn't want to recycle our own customer base.
Right.
I mean, we're happy that a lot of our regular customers did figure out it was us.
Yeah.
And particularly if they see us here, but. We wanted to have a whole new experience, as I'd mentioned to you earlier. So did our landlord. They
Right.
wanted to be totally separate. So we went into New York to a showcase of just stuff that it's really kind of one of the best parts of being in the restaurant business. I hate to say it, is picking out plates and glassware and silver and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Candles and
Right.
Sort of design it. We had a great interior designer who really listened to us, and our landlords didn't beat us over the head too much about what we were doing here.
Right.
The idea was it's supposed to be sort of a seafaring look.
Yeah.
Like you were in a ship. If you look at the wooden slats overhead and all that. Sorry, you can't see them.
Right. Well, we'll take some videos afterwards.
Take our word for it. There's a whole bunch of wood
it's
up
so
there.
cool.
But we were trying to get that kind of look, and the building we inherited, the ceilings are low,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool too.
Right, yeah.
So everything from the colors, the design, the plateware, everything was trying to be totally different than anything we'd done before.
Yeah.
The wine list here is almost 100% different than in any of our other places. Just to make sure that we made a clear demarcation.
Yeah.
As it turns out, we were very fortunate. We started with basically our senior chef, and then he handed it over to a man who's over on the other side of that wooden wall named Charles Collins, and Charles just does a great job.
Yeah.
I think in many ways, I don't want anybody that is involved in our other restaurants to know, but this is kind of a flagship for us now.
Yeah.
The original Rum Runner and this one. I think that we do probably the best job here in terms of the overall presentation.
Yeah.
We were very fortunate here. One of the reasons we do a good job, honestly, is there's always been money in the building. From the minute we opened up, we did well.
Right.
So that means everybody was making money. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, there was a big road bump in there when it came to that, and we did nothing.
Right.
We were not set up to do to-go. So we laid off, in our company, we laid off 700 people 2 years ago.
Wow.
Almost exactly 2 years ago. It was
Yeah.
March 15th or 16th, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
so we're getting close.
I had to lay off 700 people, including me and my wife.
Yeah.
My wife was pretty upset about it. She said, it's okay for me to go. But,
Yeah.
so we all had to go through that thing.
Right.
But when that following summer came around, it roared.
Yeah.
Because we had outside dining.
Right.
And we had a miraculous summer.
Yeah.
The weather was nice every damn day.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost like a payback. Okay, you got the coronavirus, but
Yeah.
here's some sunshine. I'm wandering on this story.
Yeah.
But if you get our plateware here, for instance, it looks like handmade pottery.
Yeah. Right.
It's just really cool
Very
looking.
cool.
And it's funny, I was in here the other night, and I shockingly got a martini glass. How would I have a martini glass?
That's so
and
weird.
our day-to-day operations manager, Lauren Kotu, came by the table and she said, that's the wrong martini glass. That's the one we use next door. I'll be right back. She takes my drink and switches it with the actual martini glass.
Yeah.
But that's how determined we were to
Right.
have this look differently.
Yeah, no, I love that. And
Yeah.
it definitely has that feel because, I've had eaten at some of your other restaurants too, and that's why when we were talking about before, I didn't realize that this was part of it until I reached out and was trying to get the process started to get this interview set up, which is really cool, and I think speaks to how well you guys got that all figured it out. But let's talk about the menu. So what
Sure.
are the staples of the menu, maybe fan favorites, things that you guys know, if we put this on the menu, and then I'll give you my favorites after you're done.
All right.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Well, the first thing about the menu is that one of our principles in our company from the beginning is that we want there to be something on that menu that anyone who should be going out to dinner under any circumstance, but no matter how modest their financial circumstance, that they can find something here and they're not going to be embarrassed.
Right.
Now, it might be a simple salad or something like that, or a burger, but we wanted them that it was all-inclusive that way.
Yeah.
So there was no, don't go there, it's too expensive.
Right, yeah.
Now, we're all fighting the fight right now because of food costs.
Yeah.
I felt we were semi-immune to it for a while, but over the last 3-4 months, it's been roaring.
Yeah.
The amount of money it costs us to put a 1.5 pound lobster on a plate is shocking.
Yeah.
We're to a point where we almost shouldn't serve it.
Right.
Because what are we going to do? Charge people $60 for a 1.5 pound of lobster?
Yeah, I know.
And I don't care how well they think of us, they're still going to get mad.
Yeah, $60.
I would.
Yeah, right.
So we try to find things, crab cakes has always been our deal, no matter what we do. And we try to make, jumbo lump crab so that people are really getting crab in it.
Yeah.
For someone who grew up on Mrs. Paul's fish cakes, as I did, fish sticks, actually.
Yeah.
And I always said there was no amount of ketchup that could beat that to the ground. It didn't exist. It was not possible.
Yeah.
Why my mother insisted on us eating those on Friday nights.
Yeah.
But so we did a big thing here about appetizers, too. Go ahead. Tell me what you like.
Jerk shrimp. It's like definitely my favorite one that you guys do, like by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it you like about it, if you don't mind my being specific?
It's like, so...
The spiciness?
It's like a spiciness, but it's such like a... Because normally you get jerk chicken, like that kind of stuff, but it's such like a different type of flavor that you're going to get like at most seafood places, I think. You know what I mean? Because it has like... It's like refreshing because it's like a shrimp and seafood's like light and whatever, but also has like that salty spiciness to it that kind of just like balances it out. And I don't know what kind of sauce is on there, like the
That's okay, neither do I.
The white sauce. I mean, like you dip that in there.
They keep me out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, here he comes.
Yeah. Like hide the stuff. But yeah, so that's what I like about it. So like anytime we've come here, I think we've probably been here in the last year maybe like 5 or 6 times. And I think every single time we've gotten it. Like the first time we came down here, me and my girlfriend together, was over the summer last year. We were sitting at one of the tables outside, and we were just going to get like a couple apps. And we got like, I got fish tacos. She got the lobster tacos because she's, very bougie. But
She obviously doesn't watch the show.
No, she doesn't listen at all. So she'll never hear that either. But yeah, so we got that, and I just remember like the jerk shrimp just like blew me away. So that is my favorite.
All right, so mine actually are the little spare ribs.
Okay, I have not had the spare ribs.
And for a while, we were serving 3 of them.
Okay.
3 sets of it, kind of. And we're sitting at a table for 4 making decisions. So I actually made a decision. Raise the price by $1 and give them the 4th one, would you please?
Right, yeah.
But I'll tell you what I had to do with the menu, which was funny because the menu was totally different than anything we'd done before. I basically stayed out of the way.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that it featured a lot of seafood because nobody else in this boardwalk does that.
Yeah.
And, really features it, But by the same token, for the carnivores like myself, okay, we have that too. But we got probably 2 weeks away from opening, and I was starting to panic. And I said, okay, I'm just going to ask you to put 3 things on the menu.
Yeah.
Just 3.
Right.
And the 3 things were the tacos.
Yep.
That we have a taco bar here.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of choices. One was calamari, the number 1 selling appetizer in the universe.
Yeah.
And the other was a hamburger.
Right.
Because I said, if you'll just put those 3 things on the menu, I don't know why I was asking their permission. I'm pretty sure I could have told them.
Right.
But if you knew how our company works, you'd know I was asking.
Right.
But I felt, okay, just to give me those 3 so that a person coming down the boardwalk looking at the menu board outside sees, okay, they got calamari, let's go.
Yeah, right.
We'll try this other stuff later,
Yeah.
And it ended up our top 3 sellers are those 3 items.
Yeah.
But the other one that actually I shouldn't say that anymore, what surpassed it is something that I eat if it's kind of the moment, but oysters.
Okay.
We sell more oysters here than you would ever guess in a trillion years.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, aphrodisiac, whatever everybody wants to say.
Right.
But it has been, if I were going to say what's the one thing over the last 3 years, the boom in sales of oysters.
Yeah. I guess there's not really like, just thinking about it, there's not like a ton of places around here that do that.
I mean, we operate the oyster bar inside Convention Hall.
Gotcha.
But even there, we sell them, but it's not like it is here. Here it's a thing.
Tuna tartare nachos that might be my favorite thing in all of Asbury Park. Just, sidebar. But
Tell
awesome.
everyone you know.
Yeah, well, I do. Like anytime that people are like, "Oh, where should we go?" I'm like, just stop in the convention hall, get the nachos, you're good to go. Then obviously come here and then hit all the other spots that Tim McLoone owns.
We secretly operate the food service.
Okay.
Out of that one and the one on the other end too.
Gotcha.
So the Seahorse.
Yeah.
Seahorse and Oyster Bar. So
awesome. No, you're doing great.
It was part of our relationship with our landlords. Really.
Yeah.
They didn't have anybody to do it.
Right.
And they're kind of looking at us like, would you guys?
Yeah.
So they do the beverage service and we do the food.
Gotcha.
And it's been a good partnership.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
There's no money there. It's not that. It's more like just keeping everything moving forward. I mean, Convention Hall's under a little bit of assault right now. Is it a viable building physically?
Yeah.
And so as long as we can keep customers walking through there and enjoying it, it helps the urge to keep it I don't know that there's some people suggesting it should just be torn down and replaced.
That's just so...
Which I could understand.
Right.
But the iconic nature of it.
I know. It's so great.
I don't know.
Yeah. It just was so great, like, because usually we'll stay over at the Berkeley, then we'll go over to the beach because it's right there.
Yeah.
And it was just so nice, like, over the summer, you come into the convention hall, like, you sit down, you get a drink or whatever, get cool off a little bit when it's like 100 degrees outside.
Well, the problem is it was actually, as a venue, the Paramount's great.
Yeah.
But as the convention hall itself on the other side, it was ill-designed. I mean, at the time, it probably made sense. They were going to do trade shows there.
Okay.
So it's just a big square or
yeah.
a rectangle, whatever,
right.
with seating way far above. So it's not comfortable for basketball games or other things.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of conventions here disappeared.
Yeah.
There was too many other locations, Atlantic City, not the least of which.
Right.
And so it's not a functional building the way it's currently set up.
Yeah.
My band, we played there a bunch of shows over the years, but you have this humongous space in front of you where people are standing.
Right.
It's just,
Yeah, odd. But awesome. So we're going to take our second break of this episode, last break. So we just learned all about Iron Whale and other stuff that you got going on around here. I'm learning so many things over the course of this episode. It's crazy.
But will you remember any of it?
I'm going to listen back.
Okay.
I just like the sound of my own voice.
You and me both. It's amazing either of us gets a word in
I
there.
know, yeah. But this has been great so thar. So third segment coming up. This is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We're here with Tim McLoone at Iron Whale in Asbury Park. We'll be right back. It is time for your New Jersey Fun Fact of the Day. The Garden State is much more than the state's nickname. New Jersey is a leading grower of produce in the United States. New Jersey ranks 5th in blueberry production, 3rd in cranberry production, 3rd in spinach, 3rd in bell peppers, and 4th in peach production. And that is your New Jersey Fun Fact of the Day. All right, we're back for our last segment of the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We are here in Asbury Park at Iron Whale with Tim McLoone. So, Tim, in the first segment, we kind of did your background in the restaurant world. We talked all about Iron Whale in the last segment. But in the last segment, what we do for every episode is talk about the relationship that these businesses that we've talked to and the nonprofits and all that, that they have with the community. And we've touched on it a few times over the course of this episode. So, if you could, just talk about, like, maybe Asbury Park as a whole, and then we'll talk more about some of the stuff that you guys have going on with the community and like all that.
I mean, I think in general, people in the restaurant business, we call it the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
And the reality is, it's always amazes us when we get people who want jobs here or who have jobs here who are not very hospitable. Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
You're so in the wrong building.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that implies that you get involved with the community. And sometimes it's as simple as taking out an ad in a journal for the Cub Scouts or a Little League team or something like that. But and it also goes into hiring and trying to have outreach programs. I know up in our place in West Orange, the Boathouse, we're reaching out to the local high schools, partly because we need employees, but also it's a good thing.
Right.
And down here, Monmouth University is right around the corner. So we get a lot of employees from there. But we had a much larger thing that happened. I was working for the New Jersey Nets back in the 90s.
Okay.
And to make it really quick, one of the players on the team he was from Newark, and wanted to do a Feed the Homeless on Christmas Eve at the Robert Treat Hotel, as a matter of fact. I wouldn't say they were all homeless in retrospect now that we've been there all these years, but certainly home challenged.
Sure.
And financially challenged. So we did the thing. And there was no music, no gifts, no nothing, just some food.
Yeah.
Shouldn't say no nothing. But it got me. It was Christmas Eve, and for those of us who grew up in a Christian upbringing, you get to a certain point in life, I think, where the first time you say, I can't wait till Christmas is over, what happened to you?
Yeah.
There's no 10-year-old on the planet that's saying, well, I can't wait till this is over. But you get to that place, I got to go get gifts, and then there's a party, and it becomes a burden.
Right.
It's like, wow. So at any rate, it touched something in me, just being there on Christmas Eve. And so over the course of the next year, one of the Nets owners was at that same event, and he and I became friends, and we kept talking about it. You want to do it again? Yeah.
Right.
And so because I'm a genius, which we pointed out in segment one, I brought a boombox with me.
Okay.
Come on.
Boombox.
And gifts.
Yeah.
We did gifts in a bag,
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience. And doing it again, but then I realized, no, we could do this better.
Right.
We could do. I'm a musician. What am I doing? Bringing a boombox and playing Johnny Mathis Christmas tapes,
right.
Which they were. It was cassettes in that era, and so I started talking about it to my friends. It was just like, come on. And then they started getting angry with me. Are you going to do this or not? Just stop.
Yeah.
So on October 15th of 92, I called all the musicians that were still talking to me, and 17 of them showed up at the Rum Runner to have a rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I told them what we were going to try to do, and I said, if we're going to learn these songs, do you want to do more than one event?
Right.
You don't just want to do Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So everybody agreed, sure. So we did 10 events that year. But at that rehearsal, if you remember, going way back, the We Are the World thing.
Yeah.
And there was allegedly a sign at that rehearsal studio, leave your ego at the door.
Okay.
I didn't have the sign. So I've got like 17 lead singers in a room.
Yeah.
No, I do that one.
Right.
Oh, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. That's my song. Somebody, and this is absolutely true, somebody at some point started singing, and so this is Christmas. Everybody got quiet, and all of a sudden the background harmony started coming and the whole thing, and it transformed everything.
Yeah.
I've always said that John Lennon actually helped found Holiday Express because that song at that moment changed everybody's thing.
Yeah.
And they all kind of locked in.
Right.
So we did the 10 events. We ended up Christmas Eve in Newark. And everybody was crying because it touched us all.
Yeah. Right.
And you realize that what ended up happening, now we're 28 years in. Obviously, we were disrupted by COVID, too. We did 19 in-person shows this year where they would let us go. But the year before we did none.
Yeah.
We sent a video. We made a show. And to the places we go basically to homeless shelters, soup kitchens, AIDS hospices, long-term residential psychiatric facilities.
Okay.
We don't do schools and hospitals for the most part because they get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
We try to go to places, if we're not there, they get nothing at all.
Right.
Or little or nothing. And but the year before that, we did 100 events starting in November. We start like November 3rd, 4th, 5th, something like that, and we go to December 24, and we squeezed 100 events in there. And we have this small army of people now. We've got about 120 professional musicians.
Yeah.
To be in it, you have to have sung for your supper, as the saying goes, at some point.
Yeah.
And we have another 1,500 volunteers.
Wow.
Because it's a humongous thing. I think the military could learn some things from us.
Yeah.
About delivering things and logistics and all that. And I'm like back in the band now.
Right.
In the beginning, I was calling everybody every week and here's the schedule.
Yep.
And then I'd say, okay, where's the water? And let's put it in the thing. And we'd load the trucks. Now I just play piano and sing. And I hope we get there.
Yeah.
But it's the most touching thing we've all ever done. And I think over the last few years, I came to realize what actually happened. People would talk, we get tremendous amount of adulation. Really, people are so thankful to us.
Yeah.
And yet we realized that, the old, it's better to give than to receive. We were receiving like crazy.
Right.
Because we had this door open to us where we were allowed into a world that none of us probably would have known existed unless we had a specific person in our lives.
Exactly.
Suffering from mental illness or whatever.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I realized that what we were really doing all these years was healing ourselves. And I don't want to get too preachy about it, but we were healing ourselves from all the twists and turns and the mistakes and the things that happened and people that passed or people that were ill in your own families or something like that. We just healed ourselves by doing this one good deed.
Yeah.
We basically go to places for 3 hours. We set up the biggest holiday show you could possibly imagine with decorations and costumes. And
that's awesome.
And then we play a rock and soul hour and a half of hard driving music. And in the beginning, we used to be kind of gentle. Now we're not gentle anymore.
Right. Blow the doors off those places.
Because it's basically all rock and roll musicians.
Right.
Although we've had Broadway people, and we've had, Bruce did shows with us, and Bon Jovi, and a lot of other, Cyndi Lauper, I know, did a couple of them. But it's not really about that. Actually, we were on the Rockefeller Center tree lighting for 3 years.
Wow.
So it was all to just get enough support to make this thing happen because it costs us about $1.5 million a year to do it.
To put it
but
on,
the great thing of the bottom line of the whole deal is that it still becomes a one-on-one experience.
Right.
We go to some of the places we bring like a 12-piece band, 20 other volunteers, and there's 30 people in the audience.
That's
we don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Right.
Because their need is so severe.
Yeah.
And they're getting nothing.
Right.
that we're happy.
Yeah.
You know, we do a show for them.
Do you go to like
we don't count the numbers.
the same places every year, or is it kind of like
to some
rotated?
extent? I mean, in the beginning, the first year we did 10. Next year, I can remember the numbers.
Right.
It was 17 the second year, 24 the third year.
Wow.
We were in the 30s the fourth year, and then all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
And so we would tend to go back.
Okay.
Every once in a while, we picked a place that was incorrect.
Sure.
Either we were too much for them.
Yeah.
Or they really weren't as needy as they portrayed themselves to us. You know.
Yeah.
That involved a couple of professional sports teams that we shall not mention.
Yeah.
But I will always be grateful to the Nets, even though they're in Brooklyn now, because that's where it started.
Right.
Working with them.
Yeah.
But it's hard to explain really what it feels like, because you're sitting and talk, because part of it is just mingling with people. You know, and you talk about the boardwalk here, and in general, you wouldn't have that opportunity to actually speak with people who were in these circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, and then you come to realize the old saying of, you know, there but for the grace of God go I.
Right.
It couldn't be more true.
Yeah.
You know, you sit with some people and you realize that they may have mental flaws or physical problems or whatever, and maybe it was a car accident, maybe it was drug overuses. You know, it could be any number of things.
Right.
But there you are. It's you.
Yeah.
You know, it's been an incredible learning experience.
That's
for us.
awesome.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's such a cool thing. And I remember when you told me on the phone when we were talking about getting this interview set up, I was like, yeah, we definitely have to make sure that we talk about that.
Yeah. If people want to see more about it, they can go to holidayexpress.org.
Awesome.
It's real. I remember when we did the Rockefeller Center tree lighting the first year. It was the beginning of of online becoming ubiquitous. And I'm trying to memorize www. Because Al Roker is going to ask me this question. Holiday Express dot what? Com? Org? Net? EDU?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to sing a song, and I know this is next. He's going to interview me, and I can't remember what the hell the name of it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, and you get this national opportunity.
Right.
I set it on that. And the next day, thousands and thousands of people came on with us.
Yeah.
And this is back in like 1998, I think, 99, something like that.
Yeah, we still had like the dial-up, dial-in,
www.
internet, whatever. Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's so cool. So then, like, just before we round out this episode, just talk to me a little bit. I know we talked about Asbury Park before, but like, talk to me just like a little bit more about, you know, maybe the relationship between like Asbury Park as like a community as a whole with Iron Whale or with the restaurants that you have here. Is it a good relationship, I would assume?
Well, you know, to some extent, being honest about it, which is unusual for me, we're separated a little bit. The boardwalk is almost its own entity.
Right.
There isn't a lot of housing right here.
Right.
There's a couple of hotels.
Yeah.
And if you go around the bend over there by the lake, there's housing there.
Yeah.
But you really have this feeling of separation, and it's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
And that bothers a lot of people, and
Right.
I think rightly so. It's sort of what we mentioned before about the west side, literally on the other side of the tracks. You know, there's a train track right over there that separates the city.
Right.
So trying to get more of it to come here, I think for all of us, if we came back here 10, 15 years from now, you probably almost wouldn't recognize it.
Right.
The fear is that it becomes so over-gentrified that it loses the coolness of what it is now.
I know. It's so cool down here.
How do you do that?
I know. It's tough.
It's one of the reasons I like our landlords, and I hate to say such good things about them. But, they're great.
Yeah.
And they understand that, and they respect it. You know, the fact that Madame Marie is right here.
Right.
Still.
Yeah, still there.
Nobody wants to thoroughly disturb this.
Right.
But by the same token, you got to pay the bills and do all the different things. And so for us as an eatery, or two or three, well, it's nice to have more people living here.
Yeah, definitely.
Who can afford to go out.
Right.
But, you know, you hate to push out other people.
I know.
So how you find that line, I don't know. I think everybody, including the town council, I mean, everybody has run-ins with, you know, political groups and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about meaning well, they mean really well.
Right.
And they're trying to straddle that too.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a lot of push and pull. We're getting ready to release upstairs here.
Okay.
Which there's been an empty box up there for 3 years now.
Yeah.
We signed the lease for it, so we'll open it up next year. I don't even know what we're going to call it yet, but there's a band shell connected to it.
Okay.
Which is one of I've played on that band shell years and years ago when there was an Asbury Park 10K road race here, and I'd play up there with my band back in the 80s, and I am determined, before I no longer know how to play music, that my band is going to be the first band that plays up in that band shell.
Yeah.
You know, the Arthur Pryor band shell. It's meaningful.
Right.
It's meaningful that band shell operates again.
Yeah.
It can probably only seat like 300 people, something like that. So and it doesn't have to be a rock and roll venue. There's plenty of them around here.
Right.
The Wonder Bar is right over there. Stone Pony right over there.
Exactly.
There's other House of Independence, all the ones in town. There could be a really cool opportunity up there for big band and jazz and gospel and me.
Yeah, exactly.
One time.
One time. And
then I have to fire myself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know what I think is just so cool, and it's like funny that you were talking about that, and like how do you keep the uniqueness, and like obviously with like the people and everything. But one of the things that I think that I've noticed, like I live in Morristown, and obviously Morristown's come like a very long way from its past and all that. But like one of the things that I like about Morristown and why I think I like Asbury Park is like you can see all like the old school kind of like reasons why that place is cool. Yeah. But like all these new places, like this building, still gives it like that character, I guess. Yeah. Like it doesn't look like it's. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, the big one across the way, upset some people, but you can't build an intentionally old building.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you can use some used brick, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
a little exposed
there's
brick.
got to be,
the balance.
Probably when that was built, that was extremely modern.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just hope that it all works.
Yeah.
That it all works, that no one feels excluded from here, and that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, 100%. Love that.
Except you.
Right.
We might exclude you.
Yeah.
Those Morristown people.
Yeah. Well, this is the only time I'm ever coming back here, so I'll never be here again.
Well, I grew up in the Oranges.
Okay. Yeah.
Although the story I always tell actually is I'm the quintessential Jersey Shore experience. Grandparents from Ireland.
Okay.
Who land in Brooklyn. My mom was from the Bronx. My father in Brooklyn. They met at Breezy Point.
Okay.
Had me in Staten Island. Then they moved to the Oranges.
Yeah.
And then I came down the shore.
Yeah.
Next stop, Florida.
Right.
I'm just never going to get there.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. You got too much going on up here.
I don't want to leave it.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, January, February, March kind of are a little rough.
Yeah.
But once you get past that,
it's
why would you
March
want to live
7th today. It's
someplace else?
70-something degrees out here. Like it's amazing. I mean, not that that's probably good for the environment, but that's like that's a different podcast. But awesome. So if people want to check out all the stuff that you have going on, where can they go to do that?
Thank goodness it's simple as long as you remember how to spell my name. It's McLoons.com, but it's MCL, no second C. Joe McLoone should have fixed this, but he didn't.
Joe.
It's MCLOONES.com.
Awesome.
Simple as that. And everything's there.
Yeah, so we will make sure that
including
we put...
Holiday Express. So.
And we'll make sure we put holidayexpress.com and...
That's .org. Remember that conversation?
Okay,
I couldn't remember www.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you said ComNet, org, whatever, one else. EDU. Yeah. So it'll be holidayexpress.org. McLoons.com will be in the show notes, so people can just go click on those if they want.
And we're in the Fifth Avenue Pavilion in Asbury Park.
Right
on
the boardwalk.
You asked me the number. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think it's 1,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we're right on the boardwalk, right next to Convention Hall.
Yeah, you'll see over the summer when you guys come down here, you'll see all the chairs out there full, as they should be. I'll probably be sitting in one of them, eating jerk shrimp.
Acting up again.
Yeah, definitely.
How many times have we removed you from here? 2? Is it 2 or 3?
100. I've been here 5 times, so probably 5 times.
Yeah, but we never got a conviction, though.
No. You tried. You tried. And then you invited me back to do this episode, which was cool. It was very, very...
No, you invited yourself.
Well, that's true.
And I said, let's make one more mistake with this character. Mike Ham.
Yeah, Mike Ham, God. Just doing crazy stuff. But awesome. So, Tim, thank you so much for doing this episode with us today. This was amazing, as I expected it to be.
I had more fun than you did.
Yeah, I think you did.
You had to work. I was just
I know.
riffing here.
That's like the hard part about being the host. You got to do all the work, and the guest just sits back and just talks, you know? So
Making stuff up.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it. Like I said, one of my favorite spots in Asbury Park, one of my favorite places to come. So it was just a cool experience to kind of get your perspective on everything and everything you have going on. So make sure, again, McLoons.com, holidayexpress.org will be in the show notes. Go check those out. When you're down here, come grab a drink, food, whatever. This has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We were here in Asbury Park at Iron Whale with Tim McLoone. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.